So when last we left off, this engine was getting ready to be fired for the first time in Florida, which is super exciting. So what I've been working on since we last spoke was getting the engine properly set up and dialed in on its height, getting the radiator installed in the proper position so we can install the water hoses, getting our battery cutoff switch and master disconnect switch installed on this side of the stand, getting our odometer mini gauges installed on this side over here, because the battery is going to sit right here on the ground. So the battery will be on this side. So the main fuses, well, the routing of the power is positive of the battery to the cutoff back down to the left side of the solenoid. Make sure I got that right. Yep, positive to the left side of the solenoid here. The solenoid, what that does is it is essentially an on-off for the systems, as well as this main exit goes to the starter, so that when you hit the key to starter, all the power goes through there to the starter to start the engine. You let off, and then the rest of the connections for the rest of the electrical come off of the front of the solenoid. This side, which is engaged with power, is connected to the mega fuse, which is in the American Auto Wire setup for the 1965-1966 Mustang full body harness. I'm going ahead and utilize that because it at least will know that all of this is functioning properly. This wire is connected to the alternator, which will then also charge the battery back so that we don't drain the battery. The wires coming out of the back of the fuses are the coil, which is part of the ignition system, which fires for every rotation of the distributor over there. The green is the water temperature gauge, so that's going to be water temperature, and the blue is oil pressure, which is the oil pressure sensor here. So we'll be able to monitor oil temperature of the engine, or temperature of the water going through the engine, the oil pressure, and then we'll also set up a volts meter just to make sure that we're getting the proper electrical system through there. We added a universal fuse block just to protect all the things that are connected electronically. We've routed all of the wires as cleanly as we can. Normally you don't have to, you just take them right from the switches right to the engine, but I wanted everything to be clean so I didn't accidentally get anything caught up in a pulley or anything like that. So I used loom and rerouted the wire, coil wire on one side, temperature and oil sensor on the other side. And yeah, so that's where we are. The next thing we have to do is we have to finish the power side of these gauges so that the power can all be connected to the starter switch here, because the starter switch, when it turns on, powers up all of these gauges, and then of course when you hit start, you start the engine. A lot of work done on the back of the car and on the exhaust, the mock exhaust or temporary exhaust, to ensure that we're not blowing out the neighbors. We're not really interested in being obnoxious. We're not that kind of neighbor. And also kind of getting an idea of what we're going to be able to do. So I went ahead and got an X-pipe because there was one of the recommended pieces that go with having this type of dual exhaust. H-pipe is straight across, X-pipe obviously crosses them, such as that. And you know, we have some straight here. It's 2.5 inches from here all the way to the mufflers. It's reduced down from 2.5 to 2 at the mufflers, and then it's open on the other end. So we'll see how that sounds. I'm just interested to getting to the end and having to get new pieces and parts. So we're gonna do the wiring of the positive side of these gauges. We're gonna route the power cable up here to the main cutoff and then back down to the solenoid. We're going to also add the ground loop cables for the engine and the ground loop for the rest of what's connected up here, because they all have to be well grounded. And what else? Oh, we got to decipher. We we have to decipher the, you're gonna love this, our switch assembly. Came with no instructions. So we do not know for certain which connection is which. Gotta love that. So the general consensus amongst the group is that the B is the one that goes straight from the battery, and then the rest of these are going to be one's going to be accessory, which is if you turn it this way you power up things but don't start the engine. On is the engine circuits are all connected, and then start is start the car. So we have to decipher that. In order to do that, we got a multimeter which will help us know which part of the switch goes to which circuit. Hopefully, if I can figure out how to do that, because I've never done it before. But yeah, we got a lot of work. It's 4:30. We're not wearing sunglasses, and we're on a mission from God. Let's get started. Man. This first cable is from the battery to the cutoff. And if you look at our handy dandy instructions manual here, you can see right here that this doesn't show the cutoff switch. So the cutoff switch is in between the battery and everything else. So this cable is going to go from the battery to the cutoff switch, and then we have to come back to the starter solenoid. So that's what we're working on first. This is a 2-gauge 48-inch cable, which I am hopeful will go from the top of the battery to the proper pin. Let's put the battery on the ground. Oh, okay. Alrighty. Whew. All right, so we put that there. Put that there. And if this connects here, we'll just stand that there. Oh, we'll stand that there. And it just fits. Fabulous. That's what we like. Not having to modify things. I don't know which switch is switched, so I don't think that it really matters all that much. So let's actually, let's put it on the lower one. Okay, so that goes there. Oh, this guy's all bent up. I can put him there so we have room to roam. There you go. So this will go there. Something like that. Okay, so we can just set that there. He can think about what he did. And now we have to go from this other pin back down to the bottom end of the solenoid, or the battery side of the solenoid. This is a 1-gauge. We didn't have a 2-gauge available to us that was appropriately sized. This says 18 inches, but I can't imagine that that's true. So I'm going to hope and pray that this works. Ooh, it's going to be very close. I may have to switch those cables out. Yeah, probably going to have to switch those cables out because that's... Ay. Hey, stop it. It's starting to get inclement weather today, which we always love that to be the case. We're trying to get things accomplished. Okay, so that will at least get to the bottom one. So let's take the top one off and switch it around now that we realize we cannot do what we thought we were going to do. So we're going to put this guy back on this side. And we'll put the other one over here. So let's do the top first. Sorry for not recording the first half of all of this work. It was pretty tedious and it required a lot of staring at the situation and thinking about what we might or might not be able to do, and it just required a tremendous amount of staring. So I think what I'm going to do now, because I don't want to put any strain on this cable, is I think I'm going to rotate this more to bring this down lower so that it's even easier to deal with. So in order to do that, we have to take out the screw on the switch handle here. Take that guy out. And then we will loosen the large nut that's holding this plate down. Right? Yeah. And we'll just pull that as close as we can. That's about all we can do right there. And then we'll tighten it back up. Oh, everything moved. Stay put. Okay, so I think that'll be enough space. Enough adjusting. Let's check now. Let's take this cable off the bottom. Okay, you're fighting with me today too. That's always fun. Everybody can play. Everybody can play along at home. Okay, so that's a half inch socket there. Shouldn't be tight at all. Okay, so we'll take this off and put that guy in its place. And put this guy over top. Okay, so we may have to move this now because I'm a little concerned about the situation here. Let's see if we can get this going. Oh, maybe it's the other one. Let's see. Let's see if we can bend this without ruining it. Give it some more strength on the bottom. That's better. Oh, that looks good. Okay. Looks like we're home. Home. Okay. Block washer. Top hat. Oh, hey, okay, stop it. Come on. Come on. Get in there. You know, I need you to play along nicely. Just need to get started and then we'll send it home. Here we go. There we go. Okay. All right, so now we're gonna send that. Oh, it's in my pocket. Send this home. Working? Yeah, you can see. I think it's working. Okay. So we have successfully tightened that down. I don't think there's anything else that goes here. So that's good. That's good. So we have this, we have the power coming from the battery. We have the coming up to the main cutoff switch. And we're gonna create a nice short there. That's lovely. Let's fix that situation. I bet you guys saw that before I did. Okay, so we have main power from the back. Oh my goodness, what is happening here? Main power from the battery. I don't know if I want this whole situation here, but that's what you got. That's what I got. Now let's put it up here for now. Just out of the way. Okay. So we got this connected, and now we're back down to here, and that's what we're supposed to do with that. So now let's do the starter cable on this side. Let us locate the correct washer and nut for that. Of course, that'll be fun trying to find that. Looks like it's a white. Thought I saw one laying, actually I thought I saw one kind of hiding out on the ground somewhere. I don't have to have it. This is certainly sufficient to cinch that down on there. And we were going to use for that this guy. So this is a 4 gauge. This is a 4 gauge 78-inch wire to wire. And this will be long enough to get all the way around the other side of the engine where the starter is. One would hope. 78, that's 6 feet 6 inches. That should be plenty. Let's just bend that around and bend that around. Make it straight-ish, straight adjacent. Okay, so this guy is the dedicated connection point for the starter. So if we have this connected here, like that, let's go over to the other side. Whee! Sorry, pardon me, sorry about that. And let's see how far it can stretch. Okay, and it came off. So let's put the bolt on there. That way it's at least on there. And so this comes over here and connects to that. So it looks like there's just enough room. Let's take it over the top of the frame, just because we can. It's riveting television, I can tell. Riveting. Let's move you over here so you can see this. Let's see what I got going on down there. Good. I want to try to keep it away from water, although it's really not that critical. I just don't want to run it over when I'm wheeling this thing around. So if we go this way, if we go like this, like that, we can go right to there. Looky there, almost like that was made for that. So now we need something to unbolt that. Is it tightened? Of course it is. Of course it is. Of course it is. Here, let's put you on so you can even see right up in there. You can see what you got going on in there. And let's guess that's a 1/2 inch. Well, we'll just grab them all. Everybody can play. I don't know why I can't find the the 1/2 inch, there we go. So let's see if it happens to be the 1/2 inch. Oh, look, we got a chair. Look at that. Ooh, look at us go. Let's see. Oh, look at that, and I was right, it is a 1/2 inch. All right, so we're gonna undo that. Can you see? Can you see okay? Can you see that? Yeah, you can see. So we're undoing this bolt, like so. I would use the other end, but something's stuck in there, which is always wonderful. I was so excited today going to pick up the what I'm fairly certain are the last bits and bobs and pieces and parts of this part of the project. And nearly all of it's actually transferable directly to the car, so it's not like I made extra purchases only for the running stand. Most all of this cabling is probably longer now than it will need to be on the car, because in the car, that solenoid is on this side, the battery's on this side, so all of these runs will be shorter for sure. Okay, so on the old traditional Ford starter, there's just one wire, and that wire just basically sends power to the starter. In a modern starter, there's actually that solenoid that we were talking about over there is actually on top of the starter itself, and you have a power cable coming to the starter for power, and then you have a what's called a signaling wire or a trigger wire that comes separately. So in that case, you're going to put the cable for the power on the other side of the solenoid, on the battery side, because it's always going to have power attached to it. And then the signaling wire is what gets routed to the top of the starter. And on the topic of starters, literally, no pun intended, don't get me started on that. I think we tried 4 different kinds of starters on this car. And the challenge you have with the starter is this. The starter engages with the flywheel. If you can see back in there, the flywheel is what's attached to the main crank on the engine. Flywheels can be 57 teeth, they can be 62 teeth, they can be a combination somehow. And there are a certain distance away from the front of the starter. So the starter has to have the right number of teeth on its little that comes out. That's the first metric, crazy thing that can go wrong. It needs to come out the proper distance and go back in the proper distance so it doesn't get stuck or fail to engage. That's another fun thing. And it also has to fit in this space given whatever type of style of bell housing you're using. So with this block and this bell housing, And that flywheel, we tried 4, I think 3, maybe 3 or 4 different starters. We really tried to go with a lightweight, modern mini starter. Couldn't make it work outright. Couldn't get it to do what it needed to do. We ended up having to just go with an old school guy like this. Hey, how you doing? Just to make sure that we can actually get to the end of the project. Okay, so we are now officially wired up from the solenoid on one end to the starter on the other. Isn't that exciting? Aren't we thrilled? And again, you can see over here the connection for the alternator, which routes back to the power box, which should route back to the battery to charge the battery as the engine is running. Isn't that exciting? I know that you're just thrilled by all of this exciting adventure. We're going on an adventure. So now let's come back up here. Apologize for the mess there. Okay, so let's see if we can get you in a good spot. That looks pretty good. Yeah, that's good. Okay. So now that we got that one done, so we've done the main cable. Oh, now you're too short. You too short. Did the main cable. Hold on. Can't start my take. So we've got the main cable to the battery, which is this guy, up to the kill switch. Let me put the handle back on the kill switch before I lose it. We don't want that on our conscience. That would just be horrible, especially if it was locked in the off position and we could not actually start the car. Nothing worse than that. Okay, this is now wonky. Ha! I'll show you this in a minute. So I have to loosen this at some point. The panel is now no longer lined up with the throw of the switch, but that's fine because we know left is off and right is on. No matter what it is, no matter where it's facing, that is the absolute truth of the matter. So we have power from the battery. This is the master power switch. Back down to the power side of the solenoid, powering the alternator. And there's also going to be another cable coming off of here, I believe. Let me look at my map again. Let's go to the treasure map. And let's make sure we clean up as we go, so we try to stay somewhat organized. So we've done this. We've done this guy here. We've done this to the starter. We've already connected the coil wire to that side. We have to get power to the fuse block over there. And then we have to connect the gauges to the power side of the fuse block. So, all right, so let's work on that next. And we decided to go with, let's see, what did we decide? What do we got in here? Yeah, what do we got? We got all kinds of stuff. What do we got? All right, so we decided to go with 12 gauge wire from the supply side of these fuses, the supply side of these fuses, up to the positive side of the fuse block. So that's going to require some routing, some cutting, some routing, some cutting, some wrapping, some wrapping, and some connectors. Okay, we don't need fuses yet, so we'll leave those over there. There's our, oh, I'm already making a mess. See, that's the problem, is I'm like 3 seconds in and I'm already making a mess. All right, so we have our wire. What we're doing is we're doing this guy right here. Look down here. Pay attention. We're doing this guy right here, from here to the fuse block. So that's going to be over here. It's going to be from down here up to the power side of the fuse block. Now, this is loose, but I made this one too tight, so I'm probably going to have to replace this one, which is fine. It's fine. It's going to be fine. It's going to be great. It's going to be fantastic. Going to be what you want it to be. You can be anything you want to be. You can have happy trees on your engine if you want. That's what you want. So we are going to first figure out the length of the routing that we're doing. I think we'll start with that. We'll throw another zip tie in there and cut that one off so that it's not so tight. Okay, so we are going from, what did I say? Did I have thicker? I did not have thicker. Yeah, and this seems, and it seems thin. I'm concerned about that thickness. I don't know what else is going to be going on up here. This one is the regular harness wire from American Auto Wire. I thought I emulated what was on here for the main connector, and I think this is actually thicker than what I have. In fact, I'm certain that it is. So maybe I'll cut a section off of this. What does that say? It just says 12-volt battery. It doesn't, it's really kind of weak. That's weak sauce. It doesn't have the gauge on there, but clearly this box being 12 gauge, this must, certainly you can see there. You can see there's a big difference between this one and this one. So I'm going to use the right amount here, which will be this guy, because I'm just running from here, from here to here. So maybe a 4-foot section. And that's okay. I mean, we can always replace this whole section if we need to when we get to the actual car. It's not a big deal. It's no problem, man, no problem. So we're gonna cut that off of the main harness. We're gonna save the main harness off to the side, and this is what we're gonna use. We're gonna use our wire strippers to pull off a good section of that. You see? There you go. See? Super easy. Good job. Throw that piece away. And we need a very large connector on one end, which is going to be this guy. It's going to go right there. So this guy is going to go on this end, and on this end it doesn't have to be as large. So we will get our piece, man. You can use the same tool because it's a little heavier duty than the other ones. Trying to help give you some illustrative dealios here. So we're going to put this guy on here. Make sure that it comes all the way through. You have yellow, red, and blue. See the yellow, red, and blue on there? That's it. Those type of insulated connectors that already have the insulation on them, that's what you're going to use to crimp that down. And that is not coming off. All right, so there you go. You're crimped on there. There you go, good to go. That's the business end with the fuse side. So the fuse side is gonna go that way. And then we're gonna come up here. We can come up here through this zip tie Dealio McDealerson. Wank. 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 Like so. Like this. Okay. You stay down there. Think about what you did. And so this comes over here and connects right to there. Fabulous. All right, so on this end, we do not need as large of a connector. Let's see. And we'll stay with yellow because that's for that gauge, that size gauge wire. Perfect. All right, so same connector with a smaller hole on the end of it. See? Na-na-na, na-na-na. And so now we're going to strip out the other side of the wiring here. Hey. It's not very big, so we don't need that much pulled out. Okay, now why are you guys doing this weirdness? Interesting. Okay. I don't know what that was all about, but whatever. Okay, so we got that stripped back. This is going to go this way, so we want this to be kind of sideways, like so. Put it into the crimping connector there. Paying attention? Pay attention. It's going to be a test later. And then we smoosh that down. Let's see, let's go on this next one just to make sure that we're fully seated. Okay, and we are good to go. So this is going to be on the positive side. Oh, I got to loosen that. I got to loosen that. Nope. Nope. Okay, it works, but you need some mechanical assistance here. Go the other way. Probably will be more effective to do that. Let's not lose everything in the process. Oh my gosh, there's like 6,000 freaking things there. Alrighty then. Okay, so wire. I don't know why it wants all of these. Maybe front and the back dealio. I don't know. I'm confused about why there's so many of them. Maybe it's because you might have multiples connected to this. That's logical. So we'll do a front and a back. And then we'll do the lock washer. And then we'll do the canut. The Kaniki. Okay. Okay. You think about what's going on in your life right now. Hold on. Holding on. Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. It's fine. It's okay, Juan Pablo. All right, so this, we'll just kind of make this go, do a U-turn. Just so it kind of tightens up nicely into that area there. Like so. Let's grab this. We'll just hand tighten for now until we know for sure that we're fully done. Let's go ahead and get this cut off and replace it with another one, because that's too tight. Put another guy in here and just leave that like that, and then just cut that other one off very, very, very carefully. Where are my wire cutters? Don't want to ruin all of your work by cutting wires by just doing this. Okay, so now we have more room to play with, and then when we get it all done, we'll cinch it up. We'll cinch it up nice and put it up in there. Yeah, this is all looking swell. All right, so we've done that wire. We haven't put the nut on down here yet. I'm not sure why. That's a challenge, because I think that is that this one? It is not. Okay, so this is always a challenge for me, because I take stuff apart and I don't put things where I can find them properly. And when I go to put everything back, it's like chaos. I'm an agent of chaos. So let's do this, and let's hope that this is the right nut. I don't know if it is or not. I'm just checking. Looks good. I don't think anything else is going to be connected to that part of the things. So let's send that. Send it. Okay, don't you move around. You stay there. Okay, so now we have power, 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 alternator. And that's exactly how it looks in the diagram. No matter how weird that might be, that's what the diagram tells us we're supposed to do. I'm gonna loosen this so I can get this straightened out this way, so I can put these covers on here. Even though this is not going out in the rain, I still want things to, okay, okay. And let's loosen this. I'm not happy with this situation here. Let's bring him around this way. I feel much more comfortable with him facing that way. Much more comfortable with that. And then there's nothing else coming on here. So we can tighten this guy down. Like so. There we go. Everything's away from the water parts and the gasoline parts. This is looking the way it's supposed to look. Not bad for someone who has never done this before. Again, just to reiterate, you can do this. You just have to look at a diagram and copy the diagram. I hope. I hope that's what you have to do. That is my hope. So we have the coil wire installed. We have the starter wire installed. We have power coming from our battery to our cutoff, to the coil, to the solenoid. The solenoid, when it's switched on, will actually connect and then start the starter. We have the additional power going to power our, what would be our dashboard. And so now let's get to working on these guys. So now what we're going to use for these ones is we're going to use, I don't think this has to be heavy. I think we're going to use the regular red cable. And so these diagrams here for the gauges, you have to connect the positive to whatever the ignition switch lead is going to be. So If we have a fuse block in here, yeah, I'm kind of lost at the moment. If we have, so we have three things, 1, 2, 3 things, all going to the same terminal for the ignition switch. This is the part that I don't really know and understand exactly what I'm doing. So we have the ignition switch, and we have straight power. And I'm guessing that all three of those power leads have to be connected to the same, let's see, ignition switch or terminal that is turned off when the ignition is off. Turned off when the ignition is off. Turned off when the ignition, so that's all exactly the same. Whatever terminal is that, the three positives on these gauges have to go to that section. Okay, so we need 3 runs of red wire coming from the positive side of all 3 of these gauges up to the ignition switch. That's how I'm interpreting that. And then they will terminate at the switch, and then whether we use the one that came with the stand or we use an actual true ignition switch, to sort this out in my brain. Let's do this side first. We know that they're going to be connected here, and we know that they're coming up somewhere in here. So we can certainly just make this long. Let's see, make this, the first one is going there, and then going over here. So that's that one. We'll just make the leads. We'll sort out the routing later, because we know we have to make the leads. We have no choice. So that's the first one. This is the bottom one. This is the one on the bottom. The one in the middle is here. Here to here to there. So this is the one. Oh, what are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? Cuckoo head. Got to cut it first, then you can put the stripping thing on it, goofball. Okay, sorry, just losing my mind here. I'm forgetting my proper order of operations. So let's just complete one at a time. This was the middle one. I think we said this one was the middle one. We're going to use red because that goes with red. We're all fancy like that. Let's see if this is the right terminal. I'm pretty sure it is because it was the same as the other ones. It is. So we're using the red terminal, smaller gauge wire. If you want to play along at home, you can play along at home. There you go. Put the red wire with the red wire. Never cut the red wire, but you can splice it, as we can show you here. Okay. Again, using the red section. Crimp that down. It helps make that noise. It definitely helps a lot. And we're good to go. We're going to go ahead and put it right on the terminal now, while we have the chance to do so. think we have some extra lock washers over here in the little bowl. We do. We're cool like that. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, we got plenty. So let's do one above and one below. So we're gonna do one above, then the wire. Let's get him routed the right way. Then the washer. You see that? You see what I'm doing there? Oh, look at you, struggling. Look at you struggling in your life. There you go. And now we got this guy down here, like so. Let's go ahead and put him inside the collector holder, like this. Like so. Like so. And now we just kind of leave him here until we figure out exactly how the rest of that goes. The one that we started, which was the bottom, correct? Yeah, the bottom. I'm gonna strip that guy. Whoop. Both ends. So he's ready to rock and roll. Oh, that was too short. There we go. And another red connector on the end that goes onto the gauge using the red section of our crimpers. And he's going right on this guy. We need 2 more washers. 1 and 2. I know this is absolutely riveting, but if you haven't done this before, you can sympathize with me not having done this before, and we're going to play along together. And we're going to see what success we can have together. Together. Okay. And now we'll route this guy the same way we did the first ones. First 43 wires. Oop, nope. Come on. Then the other way. Thank you. Okay. And then we're in there. We're in like Flynn. Okay, so now, this is the middle one. This is the bottom one. Let us do the bottom one. We're going to put a piece of black tape on, so we know that this is the volts meter. The middle one, which is the oil pressure, not sure if we're going to need to know the differences in these or not. We're going to put 2 pieces of tape on. That's the middle one. And the top one, we're not going to put anything. So bottom is 1, middle is 2, and the top one is nothing. Nada. Necesito. Okay. All right. So now we need 1 more run from the top, tippy top, tippy 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 top, tippy 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 top, to here. Okay, so now that goes there. Oh, do both sides, please. Both sides are now done. Get a connector. Get 2 washers. 1 and 2. Okay. Did it in the wrong order again. And you're standing there holding 2 washers when you really need to be working with this. Getting ahead of yourself, trying to be fast, and you're going way too fast. Perfect. Okay, so that guy's crimped down. Now you can take the nut off, put on the washer, put on the wire, put on the washer, and then put on the nut. Washer. Wire. Washer. And nut. Now, these lock washers are really here to make sure that the vibrations of the engine in an actual working environment of the car don't vibrate these wires loose. In our situation, they're not going anywhere. A minimal vibration from the stand itself. But we're going to do it all the way they want us to do it because that's the way they want us to do it. That's what they want. That's what they're going to get. All of these are in, all of these are in, all of these are in, all of these are in. Okay, now we're going to route this one. I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, why are you making this thing so neat? It's just a run stand. Well, I'm practicing really my ability to pay attention to these details so that when I get to the actual car, I've kind of done this a couple times this way, so I kind of have an idea of what to expect. An idea of what to expect. Okay, so let me see if the actual ignition cylinder came with this kit or not. Because I certainly would like to not have to be sussing out that silly, generic, universal ignition switch. And of course, if it did come with this, then I don't know what to tell you about that. There you go. You stay there. And I know that I purchased a complete set because the keys are in the house hanging up. And of course I would have put away the portion that goes with the dash. And of course those are not accessible to me at all at this time because who would have needed that now? Who would have needed that now? Not me. Not me. So we're going to suffer through. Ooh. No. Wait. Oh, yes. Oh, this could be. Could this be? No, this can't be. It's too short. Way too short. We're going to suffer through learning a new skill on the fly as we go. And that is trying to figure out how to make this guy work the way we need to make it work. The other thing too is that people were theorizing that this housing is a ground, which means the panel would need to be a ground, and we don't have the panel connected to anything. So in addition to what we've just done, we need to utilize one of these points to ground this panel to this, just in case this does in fact need a ground, because that is metal. So yeah, so that's going to be awesome. So let us do the ground wire, the main ground wire back to the hotel, back to the future. And we'll use the rest of this 6 gauge to go from here. Let's see if we got enough going on over here. I don't know. Skylar had told me that he had a designated bolt for grounding. You're grounded. That looks like it's holding the... You don't want to disconnect or you don't want to loosen anything that has already been tightened down into its location. So if we did something like that, or something like this here, oh, that doesn't even look right. Let's look on this side again. He said it was on the driver's side. Now there are bolts here that we're holding this bracket on, and we could use those for certain. Let's see if we still have one of those. So if this will work, okay, so we could use, I don't know if this is going to reach though, let me see. That goes there, this goes here. Oh, that'll reach. So we could go there to the same bolt as the other one. Although I don't know if we have to sand off the paint that's on there or not. It's a good question. But we're going to use this. We're going to use this. And then we're going to use one of these. So we need a connector on this end. And then we need on this end a smaller connector, bigger but smaller, if that makes any sense. And those are in a little package. Oh, yeah, look at you, just dump that everywhere. So I did not buy connectors big enough for that big fat cable, but I do have two of these, right? Do I? Yes, I have two of these. I have two of these guys. So this fits perfectly on that bolt, but this fits poorly over here on this guy. And the closeness of this bolt to the actual block is way closer than that one for some weird reason. So let's see if we can cinch this. Let's see. Let's see if this will even work. Let's see if this will even be possible given my set of circumstances. Ooh, maybe that'll work. Okay, if we go here, like so. Okay, that will hold. Okay, so we'll just have to stack up. Okay, so we're gonna try it. We're gonna take them down. We're gonna do our thing. So let's strip this. Oh, we can't strip this way. So this is a challenge when you have a wire that's too big for what you're trying to accomplish. Let me raise you up. Bring you down. Is fuses, connectors, washers. Is we have to strip this out, and the way that you do this is you cut around okay, let go, turn it loose, turn it loose, and then you cut straight down, and then it should peel right off. And hopefully, if you didn't go too deep on your circumference thing, none of these will come off, or a few of them will come off. And now you have that guy. So now we're going to take this guy, we're going to put him in here, and did I leave my channel locks out here? Not channel locks. Why am I saying channel locks? That's old school. my vice grips. Oh, they're over on the other side. I figured out an easy way to kind of crimp this down, crimp these heavy ones down using vice grips and just using the leverage of the vice grip. These were not the ones I used. These are not them. These are them. Super heavy duty. So, oh, before we do that, let's put the tubing in place. This actually will shrink wrap over the whole thing. And that falls underneath your cabinet like that. That's exactly how you're supposed to do that. Because then you can get your, you know, you're stretching. Oh my gosh, it went all the way underneath. Look at you. Look at you go. You did it all by yourself. Oh. Hi again. Hello again. So this will actually shrink wrap over top of the entire connection and give you some protection that way. So now we'll put the wire inside the dealio like so. Get those out of here because that's not what we're using. Put that in the vice grip like so. Before we do that, let's see how you're getting no love. Why don't you come over here with me? Sorry, apologize for the craziness of that. This was going to go this way and this way, so we want this to be flattened this way with the curve. I just use the existing. It wants to go like that, so just go with it. Just easier. And then you cinch it down, you tighten it up, you cinch it down, tighten it up, and then at some point it's going to grab. Good. Want to do one more? Oh. That's the one you got to watch out for, is that recoil. And so now that is solid. So that guy goes in there. We'll add a little flame to it to make that kind of cinch down, and that's that end of it. So that business end is going to go here, kind of in this generalissimo, Francisco Franco, and that's going to go there. Okay, so we're going to cut the other end, riveting television, and then cut long ways away from your hand, because all the surprises will be not where your hand is. That's what you want. See? Look how easy that was. See? Simple. Now we need the other large loop McDufferson. Where did you run off to? I don't see you. I need you to be present and accounted for, because we cannot continue without you. You are our friend. Where are you? I didn't put him in my pocket. I didn't lay it on the ground. Oh, I hung it on the bolt. Okay, so now we're going to do this. This one was this way, and this is this way, so this is kind of sideways-ish, kind of like that. And let's see if we can get two pieces out of this. And look, you didn't even fall on the ground this time. You saw what happened to your brother. He got yelled at, so you don't want to fall under the same trap. It's a trap. So that should be, yeah, that'll be plenty. Okay, so what did I say? This one was going this way. And so this one's gonna kind of turn this way. And now we go back to our vice grips. Vice grips. That one didn't work. Let's try it again. Okay, got the first one in. Let's do it again. That's got a lot of kinetic energy behind that guy. Just watch when it recoils. It wants to get you. Oh, that's going to be a lot of recoil on that one. Look at that, snapping back. That's good. Let's do one more on the front part of it. Okay, so now we have both ends ready to rock and roll. So now we'll do the top first, because that was the one that was most concerning. We're going to use a lock washer to kind of try to span that span, and then some other washers underneath and above, and then another lock washer. You can't really use one of these because it's too close on one side. Right? Right. Okay. So we are going to do washer, connector, washer, washer, lock washer, dealio. There you go. This ought to be fun. Fun. We're having fun. I'll put you back over here like this. Hopefully none of that shows up on camera. Oh, that's good. Just drop stuff on top of the engine. That's always good. There you go. Okay. And you can, perfect. Just like we planned it. All right, so we are going to do washer. Cable. Washer. Another washer. And a nut. And I'm fairly certain we're going to get at least a sufficient connection between all of those pieces parts to properly transfer the ground. Even though it's a red wire, I know it's red, You use what you got. And this is the strongest section of cable that we have. So this is a good spot to put it so that we have good ground for the entire fuse block. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that we have, through all of that, we got a connection. So now on this end, I would guess that we can just use the same stud as the other one. I would guess. That's safe to say. And having this cable next to the fuel pump is just really not ideal. Not disconnecting any of those water pump bolts. Not doing that. You're not tricking me. Okay. Let me also. That's not going to work. That's not going to work. That's also not going to work. Some too big, too small. Let's say just right. How about that? Okay, so we're going to pause camera A, camera B. We have no choice. Sorry. Because I need to take a picture for Skylar. and send him that picture. Just ask him if that's a sufficiently good location for ground. Okay, so we're just asking that question. Somebody, oh, my father was calling me, just making sure I didn't blow myself up, or asking a question about Legos. And yeah, okay. Let's just get back to what we were doing. We're going to assume that that's an okay location. If not, and we can't use that at all, then that's what we can't use. It is what it is. But we're kind of keep that there for now. So now we have ground for whatever is connected to this block, which is ground for all of the instruments. Ground for this switch, which we haven't used yet because we may or may not do a fan today just to get the engine started. We take a look at our schematic. And so this one here says CD, but that's just for that and that. That doesn't have anything to do with that. This is like a purple wire. I don't know where that's going. I got to figure out where that's going. That must be to the ignition switch. Let's see. Let's take a look at the other side of this. Where are you? Where are you? Where are you? Where are you? Ignition, fog lights, courtesy lights, accessories, dash, main harness, table, switch diagram, steering. Don't need any of that. Sure. Ignition switch. Okay. So on this one, there's a purple wire there. Ignition accessory. Connection to ignition switch. Yeah, I'm kind of in over my head on this part of it. I know that everything needs to be grounded. That's what we've got here. Everything is now grounded to the engine block, including the battery. That I've done. Power, there's power to everything. We just have to figure out whether this is going to the fuse block or it's going to the ignition switch itself. So this is a good time to make a pause, kind of extract information from my vasty resources, and then we'll come back, hopefully come back to you quickly on the screen, but not so quick because I'll be gathering information on what the solution is to get this final piece to the puzzle so we can actually start this engine. So we'll be right back. My heart's pounding. She wants to run. Okay, next thing I have to do is I have to plug in the hoses. Oh, that's not right. We have been laboring to produce for the last hour and a half, 2 hours. I learned how to use a multimeter. I learned how to chart out an ignition switch to find continuity, to figure out which leads do what. I figured out how to ground this engine panel and everything to the engine block. I figured out I had to ground the ignition panel. Oh my goodness. I'm just shaking because we're so close. I figured out that we had to run a ground to the actual physical panel itself in order for the starter to engage, because that switch does in fact need its own ground through the panel. I'm now connecting the cooling lines to the radiator. Let us hope and pray that we do not have any leaks. This radiator has been pressure tested already, so we know that the radiator is good. Did you hear that? That was the most amazing sound ever. So we have to plug, I already connected the fuel line for the boat. For the boat tank. Okay, so both cooling lines are connected and belted down. I hate that the battery has to be where it is because it has to be where it is. I can't put it, I don't think I can put it anywhere else. If I put it on the ground, maybe I could just put it on the ground. I just want to get it away from the radiator. That's the part that makes me completely nuts. Because the ground is on the other side. Okay, we have that. We have this. Okay, so what we have, the engine is wired. The gauges are wired. When I turn this on, I do see that we have 12.5 volts. We have a movement on the temperature gauge and the on the oil pressure gauge. The exhaust is completely all locked up. The one thing I didn't do, I didn't tighten these bolts for the exhaust. I probably should cinch those down. Okay, so let's see how we can get this cinched up. And I think this will be the last thing that we have to do. Oh, that's not going to work. That's not the right bolts. 7/16. There you go. Oh yeah, these were not tightened down at all. I don't know how to get to that one. Get to this one. It wants to go. No, I haven't started it yet because I got no fuel.
Oh, you don't have any fuel?
I have fuel, but not connect. It's laying on the ground. The connection's laying on the ground. Spark is the most important thing. That means it's ready. That means something's gonna happen. I know, I gotta make sure everything's tight. It's gonna be a problem. Okay. Spark, we got spark. Okay. Russ. Huh? I'm gonna admit, I'm getting air through the system. I see pressure on the gauge. Okay. Something's gonna happen.
Oh my gosh,
Ah! Master power on. Gauge is on.
why that happened. Do you want to check which kind of wires something? Because it's like a lot of gas.
Hearing a sound right after ignition. I don't know if that sound is a belt out of alignment or something else that isn't doing what it's supposed to do. I don't know that it's the starter. I think the starter is disengaging, but I'm not sure.